Hey guys, welcome to the next video. This is the mystery decoding assignment. What I want you to do is imagine this. Your friend goes missing. The next day you get a letter in the mail. This letter has your address on it but no return address. Your friend is being held hostage. The letter reads, "Hello, I've taken your friend hostage and the only way to get them back is to follow these steps. Decipher this message." At the bottom here it has a hint. Every space separates a word. Every dash separates a letter. You have 2 hours to decipher the message and meet me at the location. J-Craft. So if we first look at this message, we see it's just a random numbers all throughout this message. But if we look at the hint, it says every space separates a word and every dash separates a letter, which from there we can pretty much assume that this message and the numbers are associated with letters in the alphabet. So the first thing we need to do is break down the problem. The first thing we need to do is find a relationship between numbers and letters in this message. Another thing is that we need to ask ourselves what code can be written to decipher this message, as well as how to generate a letter from a number in code. So as you can see here, we have all the letters in the alphabet, A through Z, and each of these letters is associated with a number. A is the first letter, B is the second letter, C is the third letter, all the way to Z, which is the 26th letter. And this is what is going to be the key to solving this problem. So what do we do now? The first thing we need to do is create an application that decodes this message. So we need to put the encoded message in a text file. From there, we need to create a method to convert the message to letters. Inside that method, we need to iterate through each one of the words as well as the letters. We then need to take the coded letters, or the numbers, in a word and convert it to a decoded letter until we reach the end of the message. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the code. Hey guys, welcome to the coding portion of this mystery decoder assignment. So as you can see, I have my workspace already open and I have my app, and I'm just going to jump right into the code. Now before we jump into the code, I did want to show you guys that I have already created myself a text file. So I basically created a text file which holds the entire coded message that you just saw in the PowerPoint presentation, and we're actually going to be using this file in order to help us decode this message. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is write code to decode the given message. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is, let me zoom this in for you guys really quick. Alright, so we're going to go into our main method here. And then what we're going to do is read the file in order to get the message. So we're going to read this coded message.txt file in order to get the message. So I just want to add a comment here, read file to get message. Alright, so after we do that, we need to create an object that's going to be able to hold the file. Alright, so create object to hold the file, and this object is going to be a file object. File equals new file, and then from here we're just gonna pass in the actual coded message txt. This is the actual file, and we're just creating an object based on this file. Alright, so we just want to import file, and then from there we can just continue. Now the next thing that we need to do is use an object that is going to prepare the file for reading, and what that object is called a buffered reader. So object used to prepare file for reading. Alright, and as I said, buffered reader. Buffered reader, br, equals new buffered reader, and new file reader. And then from there, we're just going to pass in the file. All right, and then we just want to add a throws declaration, just in case there's any problems with the file here. Now, the next thing that we're going to need to do is write ourselves a string. We're going to create ourselves a string that is going to be used to keep track of the current line. So we're just going to go keep track of the current line in the text file. All right, so string st. All right. Yeah, so it's basically just used to keep track of the current line in the text files. We're going to be using this later on when we create ourselves a while loop. But let's just continue for the moment. We're also going to need ourselves a variable to hold all text read from the file. And what I'm going to name that variable is full text. All right. So what we're going to do now is create ourselves a while loop. So we need to create a while loop in order to go through each line in the file and then basically add each line to this full text. So we're just going to go while, then we're just going to go st equals br dot read line, and then not equal to null. And then you just want to hover over here and try catch. Yeah, so basically we add this try catch here basically in order to make sure that there's no problems that come up when it comes to reading a line of this file. So we need that IO exception there to catch whatever errors may occur within this try. All right, so inside of this while loop, what we need to do now is just go full text plus equals st. All right, let's see. Just want to go, yeah, full text plus equals st here. So, oh well, actually we need to go up here. I forgot about this. We have to make sure that the full text is set to an empty string. Forgot about that. All right. So this is the code that we're actually going to use in order to read the contents of this coded message text file. And to prove it, what I'm going to do really quickly is basically create a system.out.println and then pass in full text. All right. So we go here. We can run the application, and if we go to the console, you'll see everything that is in this coded message text has been printed out here. All right. So we don't need this for now. We can delete that since we have already proven that this has successfully read the contents of the file. And the next thing that we need to do is to create ourselves another method. Now this method is going to be used to decode the message. So we're just going to go public static void decode message string full text. All right. So what I can do here, I can actually zoom in. All right. All right, so after that, what we're going to need is this thing called a hash map, which is something that consists of key value pairs. And basically, what's going to happen here is that when we use this hash map, we're going to be creating a relationship between a number and a letter. And this hash map is going to help us actually decode the message of this full text that we pass in. So ultimately, we can just go ahead and just go coded message full text. And then we can go ahead and just jump right into the code here. So what I've done here, I've created myself a hash map. I'm just going to import it. So this hash map is going to take in a key of an integer and a value of a string. Then we just want to create a new hash map out of this. Now, as you can see, I've pretty much added every letter of the alphabet as a value, as well as every corresponding number of the particular alphabet letter. And this is actually going to help us use, well, pretty much it's the key to helping us decode this message. All right. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is actually create a variable to hold the encoded string. So we could simply just use the full text that I have here, but in order to just make things a whole lot clearer for you guys to understand, I really like to create variables so you know exactly what's going on every step of the way. So you would just go variable holding the encoded string my coded text equals full text. Now after we do this, we are going to create ourselves an array. Now this array that we create is going to be an array to split each word by spaces. Array to split each word by spaces. So as I said in the presentation, each word in this message is separated by spaces, and I also said each letter is going to be separated by a dash. So right now we just need to create an array that's going to hold each word. So we're just going to go string single word equals my encoded text dot split, and then we're going to have a space here. All right. Now, okay, so I think this is pretty straightforward, but basically what's going on is that I created myself an array. The array is called single word, and we're going to take the encoded text and then we're going to split by spaces. So as you can see here, this will be a word. This will be a word since it's separated by a space, and this will also be a word. Okay, and basically we're just basically adding every word, every encoded word to this array here. That's pretty much what we're doing with this line. All right. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to create ourselves a for loop. Loop. So we're going to loop through every word in the text. All right. Now, in order to do that, we're just going to go for int I equals 0. I is lesser than single word length I plus plus. All right. Yeah, so this loop is pretty straightforward. We're basically just looping through every word that is in this array here. That's pretty much what we're doing. All right. So inside of this for loop, what we're going to need to do is split the letters for each of the words. So in order to do that, we need to create ourselves another array. Single letter equals single word at position I dot split by a dash. All right. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. So basically what's happening is that we have a for loop, which is going to loop through every word that we have created in this array here. And then we have created another array, which is going to keep track of every letter within the current word that we're on in this loop. So basically what's going to happen is that we're going to be iterating through this array list of words. But this array here, the single letter word, is basically going to take the word at position I. Let's just say this I is equal to 0. And what's going to happen is that we're going to grab every single one of these letters, pretty much. And this is going to be held within this array. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If you have any questions, you know to always leave them in the comments below. All right. The next thing that we need to do is create another loop inside of this loop. So we're just going to go loop through each letter in the current word. All right. So we're just going to go for int j equals 0, j lesser than single letter dot length j plus plus. All right, so basically we're just looping through every letter within a particular word. And then finally we just want to add ourselves this statement here. We just do this, print every letter on the same line. All right, just want to go, and we also actually just want to go print, just print and not print line, and then just go hm.get. I'll explain this in a minute. Parse int letter all right, let me explain what's going on here. All right, so if we start off at this for loop up here, we're going to loop through every word in the text. Okay, so every word in the text is going to be looped through. Now in the current iteration of this loop, what we're going to do, we're going to grab all of the letters in the current word based on this loop. So within the first iteration, we're going to take that word, and then we're actually going to take all the letters in that word, which is going to be split by dashes, and then add it to this array. After we do that, we're going to loop through each letter in the current word. And then from there, we're simply going to print every letter of this word on the same line. So we're just going to go system.out.print hm.get. So this hm.get, we're like inside of this get, we're pretty much just going to need a single number in order to retrieve whatever value in this hash map that we want. All right. So basically what we're doing here is that we're grabbing the single letter at position J of this word, and if we go down here, the first thing that's going to be grabbed is 25. So within the first iteration, the single letter at position J, which will be the position 0, is going to be 25. Now 25 is going to come back as a string. So what we're then going to do is convert that string to an integer. And you're pretty much just going to go hm.get whatever that integer is. So hm.get 25 is going to be converted to the letter Y. And then that's what's going to be printed out. And let's just say, for example, the number is, after a while, the number is 26 is going to return Z. That's just for example, but I think you pretty much get the gist of it. So yeah, I think, this is pretty much the code that you need, but there's one thing that we're missing. After this for loop, the next thing that we need to do is just go system.out.print, and then we're just going to add a space here. Now, let me tell you the reason that we're doing this. The reason that we're doing this is because after each word has been printed, we're actually going to need to add a space so that upon the next iteration, it's going to make its way to the next word. So we basically just need that space in order to separate the words to, make things a little bit easier to read, which when we go about printing out that decoded message. And this is pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now, we have all the code that we need here. Everything looks good so far. So what I'm going to do now is actually run the application, then we just see what we get. All right, so the decoded message has been printed out here. And basically this is what it says. Let me make this a little bit taller here. So it basically says, your friend is located in your city at 174 Leon Avenue. When you get to the place, grab the note under the mat and you will find a piece of paper that contains 3 numbers. Enter those numbers in the keypad next to the door. If you figure this out, I will let your friend go unharmed. So those are the instructions in the note that you would have to follow in order to release your friend. So you're on a mission now. Alright, so you end up going to the location that you read from the decoded message, 174 Leon Avenue. You then see this mat. Under the mat, you find this note. And this note has the 3 numbers 295. You enter these numbers in the keypad next to the door. You swing the door open, and your friend comes running towards you at full speed, giving you the most loving embrace for saving their life. And you ended up saving the day. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video if you've learned something from here. And finally, do not forget to subscribe. And see you in the next one.